Hello everybody, this is Goji73 here with a figure review. Now that the NECA Flying Otachi has been reviewed and put out of the way, here is the next NECA purchase that I've been getting over the past few months. And so, let's pull him out. Also, before I do, this is the last Pacific Rim NECA purchase that I've gotten that's Kaiju related. Mutavore from Pacific Rim. Now, as I said earlier, this is the last Kaiju purchase from Pacific Rim that I've gotten. After him, it's Hardship, but I didn't get Hardship for a certain reason, and I'm hoping that that same reason doesn't pop up in this review. But anyway, let's get started. Mutavore is one of the Kaiju from Pacific Rim. He is the monster that appears in Sydney. After breaking down the coastal wall, he attacks Sydney, only to be confronted by the Jaeger striker Eureka, who ultimately fights and kills Mutavore by striking him with his anti-kaiju missiles. And so that's pretty much it for his history. He's just a one-off character who appears for about a minute and ultimately gets killed by Striker Eureka to show off Striker Eureka's power, and that's literally it. Now anyways, let's get on to detail. Much like the rest of the NECA Kaiju from Pacific Rim, he is very nicely detailed, and also like Otachi, he is a completely new mold as well, not retaken from Knifehead. But there are a few flaws with this that I kind of will discuss, hopefully, in this review, so anyway, let's get on to it. The detail, again, is very nicely captured. Ridges look nice and captured as well, basically. And overall, just nicely captured all around. If there is one flaw that I don't like about the figure, it's just what you saw moments ago. It is that he needs a stand to stand up, because if you don't, he topples right over. And that's a little unfortunate that NECA decided to go with this particular monster, because while he is kind of cool, he is really cumbersome. And unless you pose him a certain way, and yes, you can pose him a certain way in order to get him to stand up, it's still kind of unfortunate that you can't pose him in the way in which he appears in the movie. He is purely one of those monsters that needs a stand to stand up, which is, again, unfortunate, but what you gonna do? Balancing issues aside, detailing is again very, very nicely captured, which is commonplace for a lot of the Kaiju in Pacific Rim. And now on to the part of the review that I'm kinda dreading, articulation. Now, I mentioned earlier that I won't be getting Hardship, and the reason why is because I actually did get one, but I removed it because one of the miniature arms on him broke. So, I'm really hoping that that doesn't happen with this figure when I review him. But here's hoping. Both arms go up and down from the shoulder. This arm is on a swivel, so it can only rotate like this, and the hand wrist is on a swivel here too. The legs has a hinge joint at the foot here. It's kind of hard for me to push it, and I really don't want to strain it and break it too. But basically, there's one point here, one point here, one point here. So the knees can rotate like that. The ankle can rotate too, but again, I'm a little nervous. And now for the tense part. This normally would rotate as well, but is extremely delicate right here at this elbow hinge. If you try to move it, and you force it even just a tad amount, you could wind up breaking the whole thing. So, when rotating it, you be absolutely careful with these tinier arms, or you might break it all together and snap it off and be unfixable. Like you see this one rotates too, but this one, its elbow hinge doesn't rotate, and I'm not going to force it for the life of me, because that's why I wound up breaking my Hardship with. So, unfortunately, articulation is really flawed there. And for the head, the mouth opens up and down. It also swivels like this, and it has a neck joint right there. As you can see right there, it has a neck hinge, and another neck hinge right here as well. So overall, that's, let me see if I can count them out while I'm putting it back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on one side, 10 on the other. 4 on the leg, so that's 18. I'd say 21 points overall, so very articulated, but again, because of the extreme delicateness of the tinier arms, unfortunately I do have to dock a few points because, again, those are very fragile. Unless you're absolutely delicate with them, you could permanently break them. That's why Mutavore is going to be my last purchase, because 1, I suffered the same fate with Hardship, and 2, because sadly the Pacific Rim line of figures by NECA has ended. It ended with either Ultimate Gypsy Danger or Ultimate Striker. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But anyways, articulation points, 21. Mostly good ones, but a few bad ones. So, pretty good overall. And now, on to sizing. It's kind of hard to move this around, so I apologize if I'm being very limited with its movement and such. But anyways, let's pull out the Jaeger that I do have. I don't have Striker Eureka, but again, I do have Ultimate Gypsy Danger. Now, unfortunately, this is kind of where I have mixed feelings about the scaling, because Mutavore was actually pretty big. He was, I'd say, about eye to eye with Striker, but because I believe that Striker is a smaller figure, maybe it's because of the scaling, but if anything, I think Striker, like, Mutavore was about this big in comparison to Gypsy Danger, like that. But unfortunately, it looks kind of smaller than usual here, so I'd say it's a little bit off. And lastly, because I didn't cover this, he doesn't have any superpowers, so sorry, but no superpowers to show here. And so that just about does it for this review. History is brief, he only appears for a few minutes. Detail is very nicely captured, like always with the Pacific Rim figures. Articulation is good, but also very delicate, so that's at the same time kind of bad, so I guess it's okay. And scaling, I'd say, is a little bit underscaled. So overall, I have to give this figure a 6 out of 10. And I give it that score, again, because the very fragile articulation points and the need for a stand, as well as the scaling, this one's kind of a figure that could have been swapped out for somebody a little bit better. And so that's it. I hope you enjoyed this review. That's it for today's figure review. If you like what you see, or what I make, and wish to support me and help me create content faster or more efficiently, you can help me by supporting me on Patreon, and possibly get a video of your own made for you, or win several other prizes. You can also help me by supporting me here on YouTube, as well as Facebook and Twitter for anything else I may make in the future. And so that's it. I'll see you all next time.